My dear students, good day. In this video, I'm going to give my feedback based on the table of specifications which you have submitted. So thank you to those who have submitted. I have gone through every single one of the submissions. And however, for the purpose of these comments or feedback, I will not be looking at every single one. However, there are recurring themes of errors that are presented in this TOS which I'm about to share. So we are going to look at a few across all the groups that I'm teaching this semester. So this semester, I'm teaching 7 groups. Well, that basically every single group there is in the faculty for Part 4 students. And you will be able to see how TOS of different programs and disciplines are constructed. But even though they are discipline-based, these areas are common across all programs. So let's just get into it straight away. Right, so the first one which you'll be able to see on your screen now, or TOS, the first few ones from my TESOL students, I have taken the extent to hide the name of the students who prepares the TOS, konon-konon, tak nak tunjuk identity, without realizing that the name of the file will somehow appear on the screen anyway. So, Zaid, Luqman, and Idham, I'm sorry. I hope that you guys would mind, besides the focus of the discussions on the content, and these are common errors made by almost anyone anyway, and the rest of the students here, I'm sorry, okay? Just want to mention that a number of groups of students which I have this semester do in fact focus on these particular skills. So these comments will benefit others as well. Please remember that there are 2 parts to this main skill. One is the understanding of a variety of texts, as well as the use of a range of appropriate reading strategies. So ada 2 bukan 1. Hence, when the main skills is stated in this manner, I would want to see the focus on your TOS on 2 of these aspects, which are number 1, the use of a variety of texts, and number 2, appropriate range of reading strategies. And all of the groups which are doing on these particular skills only focus on the appropriate use of reading strategies. So you forget the fact that you need to stress as well on a variety of texts. Okay, so it does look like banyaknya kerja, tapi sebenarnya tak. It just needs a bit more sitting down and reflecting. If you have 5 reading strategies that you want to measure in your test, so each of these strategies should be employed on a different text. So I am expecting to see these particular skills. Allah, habis semua aku highlight ya. Alright, so these particular skills, you have 5 here. So I'm assuming they are like 5 main points that you want to stress at. That you want to stress on. Tengoklah grammar aku ke Laut Cina Selatan. Right. So, one reading strategy for one type of text. What could be possible variety text types? You could have letters, like formal letters, complaint letters, informal letters. You could even have telephone message, email message, newspaper articles. So these are different type of text which you can use for achieving this particular skill. Okay, hence, if you have 3.11 here, so we are just going to retain this. So you need to have like 3.111, 3.112, and so on until 3.115. Or maybe if these numbers or indent is membencikan, nanti dipanjang-panjang macam tu, just have like a bullet point, for example, and I will understand. Okay, so you can just, I'm just going to type it here. Cakap je tak nampak pun tak guna. Betul tak you all? So, okay. So maybe short newspaper article and skimming. Maybe. It's so difficult to measure skimming in a written test, but just to illustrate how the idea works. And this maybe email message. Right. So you're going to have 5 here because you'll be looking at 5 different type of tags. Hence, they should be broken down into respective alignment. Dah lari-lari anak dah semua. Aku faham lah aku buat apa kan gitu. Right. Macam tu lah lebih kurang. And then you have to specify the rest. Okay. Um, so that's for variety of tags. Another things which I want to address here, which I have highlighted as well. This is for my mental note in case if I have forgotten by the time I get to this video. Okay, teruskan. On an increased range of familiar topics. Okay, so this is quite a complex skills to be assessed because there are a lot of subsets that you need to look at within this one particular main skill. So you need to demonstrate on your task this increasing range of familiar topics. Hence, all of these different text types should be looking at familiar topics. Okay, you can actually sit down and brainstorm a range of familiar topics and then select 5 most familiar. However, this familiarity should be in an increasing range. It gets more complex as you get to the more number of texts here. All right. So if you do have this presented in your TOS is debug, guys. Like seriously. Okay. So I'm just going to minimize this. Bye-bye, Zaid, Idham, dan seorang lagi. Okay. Now we're going to look at the second one, which is also from Tassel. And the rest are okay. It's just that I know that this is just like exercise. It may not be a true reflection of your major project, but if it is, then I don't want this. No essay. So when I look at this, you have 2 marks here, and then the mark suddenly jumps up to 30 marks. So I'm supposing that this is an essay question. I'm not so sure what this means. Long essay kah? Tapi dia A kat sini kan. Anyhow, within 1 hour of task, in your case, I have shortened this assessment to only 40 minutes of written task. You can't afford to ask essay questions because when you ask essay questions, it prevents you from looking at other knowledge and understanding that students might have. So, ni panjang sikit nak cerita na, sabar na. So, when we look at items basically give us 2 different types of information or evidence of learning. We have objective items, which provide the teachers with the breadth of knowledge that students have. Keluasan knowledge, how much students know, right? So, for a half an hour test, for example, you could ask 20 multiple choice questions. But if you ask essay questions within half an hour, you can only ask 1 essay questions. So with 30 multiple choice, you get to know 30 things that students know. So that's breadth of knowledge. So in comparison to objective items, we have subjective items. And subjective items provide teachers with information with regard to students' depth of knowledge. Kedalaman sesuatu ilmu atau sesuatu perkara. So it allows students to argue, evaluate, analyze, and look at the extent of something. Hence, we know how well or how detailed the students know of a particular topic. But the thing about subjective items is that because they need time to demonstrate their knowledge and their learning, you cannot ask too many questions. So for 1 hour test, the most essay questions that you could ask is only 3 essay questions, or maybe 2. And that means that you only know 2 things that students know in depth. Hence, for a short period of an assessment, such as TOS, in our case, it is TOS, please do not ask essay questions. Please stick to objective items or subjective items that are not essays. So there are 2 other types of subjective items. besides essay, which are short answer and structured. So only ask these two things. I cakap pun dah termengarut dah ni ha. Right. So yes. So if this is a reflection of your major project, Hyrene and your group members, then please change this to other types of subjective item. Okay, kena cepat sikit. Kalau tidak, satu movie Lord of the Rings pun tak habis-habis lagi video ni ya. Alright, so the next TOS ialah, well, it's also language. I think these are okay. It's very simple. Right, I would just change this to error identification and correction, but the way this is presented is fine. I just want to comment on these two separate sections. I do understand that this group is looking at grammar and reading in the same task. And that's why you have broken down your task into two sections. But please understand that one task is for one task. Regardless of how many skills that you are looking at from that task, it should all be jammed into one task sahaja. So in this case, tak payah pecah, just combine them back together. Have one bigger things like maybe 1.0 is reading, and then comparative and superlative should appear under 1.1. Okay, and then you continue reading after you have presented all your grammar items. Okay, right, moving on. Teng teng teng, di manakah? Okay, di sini. Right, tu dia tak tutup nama, nampak manusianya. Okay, sorry. I just want to show you this. I have highlighted for my own memorizations. Takut I terlupa. Why am I showing this? Dah masuk dalam realm gagap-gagap dia ni. Right. So we have here, summarize the main points of a simple story, text or plot. Remember that table of specifications have to be specific. So kita kena specify sedetail mungkin sampai dah tak boleh specify dah. That's when your task should end. Okay, sampai tahap macam tu ya. So in this case, summarize the main points of a simple story, text or plot. We have three options here. You need to specify further. Ya Rabbi. Okay. Simple story. How many marks? Sorry, how many type of items? What is the item type and marks? So specify the rest here. Or maybe you are also looking at text or plot. Okay, so if you are looking at plot, so you have to detail in your thoughts from which short story or from which novel this plot is taken from. Alright, so sampai macam tu Kalau if you are leaving it like this without further elaborations, you are going to lose mark because this is not specific enough. Alright, so moving on. This is interesting. I always love literature, the poison tree. So looking at poetry analysis, I just want to comment on scoring. Ini adalah mental note ku, in case if I forget. Right. So in addition to the way the verbs are phrased in this TOS, we have identify and we have describe. So there are two things that you are expecting students to do here, which does not seem logical. So please omit one and leave one. Maybe describe because it requires descriptions of setting. Okay. State the theme of the poem, state the literal meaning of the poem. The rest is okay. So if you were to look at this, it does appear that these questions are of increasing levels of complexity from the simplest cognitive process to HOTS analysis. Okay, so let me just comment this while I'm looking at this now. So if you have analyzed the difference of foe and friend, hence it should be analysis here and not evaluation because this is an analysis question. Okay. Or it could just be an understanding questions at this point because you put analyze here. So I'm just going to accept the fact that it is an analysis. Okay. So please change your evaluation to analysis. It should be here. The tick should appear here. Another thing is that in terms of scoring, when we look at questions at increasing levels of complexity, you need to give merits to students' thinking process. Kakak je kerja aku pagi ni kan. So this is of increasing levels of complexity. The marks should represent these increasing levels of complexity as well. If you give 2 marks for remember questions, okay, these could be remember questions. State the theme of the poem, could be understanding, could be remember, 2 marks. State the literal meaning of the poem because it's literal. I'm not so sure how literal it is. It could be remember. But when you jump to analysis, that is high level, hence the complexity of these questions should be recognized by the marks that you assign to the questions as well. If 2 marks are given for remember, maybe 3 marks for understanding, so maybe 4 marks for apply. Hence, analysis might require 5 or 6 marks for 1 point and elaboration. So have a look back. We always start our questions, our remember questions, with the lowest marks as possible so that we can play with better weightage of marks as we go higher. The next one, this is arts educations. The rest are okay. It looks fine. You have structure and multiple choice. It's just that because this is TOS, this is a TOS, and TOS has to be specific. From visual art language, dia tak boleh terus masuk definition of line. Dia kena ada macam mukadimah sedikit. So 1.1 line. Alright, and start the rest with 1.11. So I'm just gonna, okay, tab is not working in a table, rupa. This is just formatting. Some of you might argue, alah apa yang ni poyo lah. Macam ni pun nak kecoh, nak bising-bising, nak bagi tahu juga. Because it's important to see the relationships. Yang ni jatuh bawah mana, yang ni jatuh bawah mana. And it gets you to like train your thinking process when you are writing TOS. So abide by the rules and look at the format clearly. Alright? Tambah memanglah poyo sekati lah kan. Okay. Teruskan. My next TOS, this is my physical and health education students. The last pun okay juga. The rest looks okay. I just want to show that this is not placed under specific topic. You have macronutrient here and you have micronutrient here. And then you have questions that address both. So, I tak nampak relationship. This item is under which specific topic. Okay, sayang because you have all the information presented, cuma tidak or it's not presented in a correct way and you lose mark because of that. So let's have something like this. So you start with 9.1 because this is topic 9 in the textbooks or in the SKP. So have something like this. And then, bahasa Melayu kan? Okay, macronutrient. Okay. And your 9.11 here should appear as 9.111. That, right. So, memahami, I'm just going to add one more one. Memahami fungsi dan kepentingan makronutrien iaitu karbohidrat, protein serta lemak. Alright, so this actually consists of 2 aspects. You have functions and you have importance. So, this has to be broken down into 2 separate items. Okay, this is what it means by table of specifications because it does have to be specifically stated. Memahami fungsi macronutrient, and then you just type down here, memahami kepentingan makronutrient. Okay, karbohidrat, protein serta lemak, you can put as part of your choice if these questions really look at all these 3. But say for example, memahami kepentingan makronutrient iaitu karbohidrat, protein dan lemak, you tak tengok kat sini. You nak tengok dekat sini katakanlah the first one. So please omit this from your statement, TOS statement, and put it here. Okay, so then your TOS statements are more specific. Then I nampak step satu is different. One looks at function, the other one looks at importance. And hence, this has to be broken down into two as well. Okay, another thing which I have noticed, let me see whether I'm on the right TOS. This one has no text, so menilai kepentingan pengambilan micronutrient. So you should tick here for evaluation for this particular item. So for this TOS, there are certain questions that fall under micronutrient. Some questions are under micronutrient, but some questions fall under both. So you'll start with 9.11 macronutrients, and then after you are done with your items, and then move on to 9.12, which is your micronutrients, and then 9.13 for macro dan micronutrient, and this is where you put all the items that address both of these topics. Okay, so dia kena macam tu the same applies to all other programs as well, because that is the same manner which you will be presenting your topics or how you specify your topics as well. Okay. We have looked at this, and we have looked at physical and health educations. This is another TOS from my PhD student, and this looks at pemakanan. I dah lupa sebenarnya apa yang I nak mention kat sini. Okay, it's because of this. And this is very common. Bukan grup ni saja, hampir semua. It's fine sebab we are learning. Kalau tak buat mistakes, then it's not fun learning, okay, or meaningful learning. Right. So, pemakanan menerangkan tentang keselamatan makanan dan kualiti makanan. This in itself should be broken down into two items, or at least two different items. You have one item or one group of items which look at keselamatan makanan, and then maybe 8.2 which look at kualiti makanan. So dia tak boleh disekalikan, because these two things address two different aspects of makanan. I do understand kadang-kadang you mungkin ada soalan, satu soalan yang tanya tentang dua-dua perkara ini, then soalan itu tidak bagus because the question itself assess two different aspects. Remember that one item looks at one aspect sahaja. So ini memang kena pecah kepada dua. So when you break this into two groups of items, keselamatan, lepas tu another one, kualiti makanan, right? This has to be broken down more as well. And dia tak boleh campur. In this case, then I see that in these four items, you ada sebahagian items yang multiple choice dan sebahagian item yang short answer. So this is not a correct way to present your number of items and item types. So katakanlah these particular items only look at keselamatan makanan, dan kita memang ada 4 soalan untuk soalan keselamatan makanan, right? So say for example, I have 2 items here and 2 items here. My first 2 items are MCQs. My remaining 2 items are short answers. So I'm just going to type SA for short form. So maybe you have 2 marks for multiple choice, 1 mark each for each question. So one, manalah I punya X here. X, where are you? Okay. Right. So please specify in this manner. So kita tahu, okay, we have 2 items and it's 1 mark for each item. So for these items, we have 2 marks. And then short answer, maybe 2 marks. 2 times 2 equals 4. All right. And when you tick your TOS in this manner, the same level has more than one tick for different cognitive thinking process. So this is not right. Okay. So maybe it's like this. Maybe, we don't know. Only the group knows, Tapi I'm not done yet. Let me just give myself more space to work on. Okay. So say, for example, out of these two items from short answer, I do have one item that is remember and another one is understanding. So if I were to do like this, it will be wrong because it's not specific. I campur aduk sekali dalam satu line yang sama. Then this TOS is not specific. So how do I get around this? So if my short answer has two different types of thinking process, I need to specify it more or further. Okay, so I have one short answer question, 2 marks, that is remember. And my another short answer questions, which is also 2 marks, is now understand. Alright, so ideally we should have line here lah kat sini kan, to separate, just a line, 2 lines here. Tapi kalau tak ada pun tak apa. But this is specific and this is how TOS should be presented. Okay? Peringatan untuk yang lain juga. Baik, teruskan kehidupan. Kacau pula menata Allah ni ya. Have I reached the end? Okay, kau ambil tak buang nama terus, tunjuk je seketul kat situ kan. Right, so I just want to say that this is a good TOS. I do have other good TOS as well. Bukanlah semua yang hantar tu ada salah, tak ada yang okay. But these are just common themes that you have across all the TOS that you guys submit to me. Walaupun dalam bahasa Melayu, kepentingan terhadap penggunaan bahasa yang betul masih tetap dititik beratkan ya. Hence, even sekecil-kecil benda macam ni pun makcik tengok. So, janganlah bagi makcik nampak salah ya. We are looking at maths, Aida and Putri. Nah, nama kau terpampang dekat YouTube channel ni, tak apalah ya. Fungsi dan persamaan kuadratik dalam satu pun boleh ubah. So, I often see the word quadratic when it comes to maths test. Famous gambarnya ya. I just want to say that we have 3 types of subjective questions and your TOS need to specify which objective types are you using, okay? So, melakar graf fungsi kuadratik, it could be structured, could be faktorkan ungkapan kuadratik, this could be short answer, but I'm not so sure. Okay, you can always change later. And also make sure that you only have one verb in your TOS, menyenaraikan dan menyatakan. So which one? So mungkin yang terbaik ialah menyenaraikan. So now we are with the last one. This is a TOS from my LG students, my English for Professional Communications. This is similar skills as what I have showed earlier with what my TESOL students are doing as well, looking at reading strategies. So please know that true and false items are not the most reliable item type. In fact, they are so unreliable up to the point that you should not or you should never use them. Okay? So if you do have true and false, or if you are thinking of using true and false for your major project, please don't. And this is the high time to get rid of it. Okay? I will demonstrate in our class later why true and false is the most unreliable item types ever. So thank you guys. Should you have any questions, you can write down your questions in the comment sections below. And you can also ask the questions in the WhatsApp group. So thank you so much for your time. I do hope that you find this feedback of mine beneficial. And if there are certain confusions that you experience which I do not address here, feel free to ask me. Okay? It's Raya and it will be a long break. But I'll be working guys. Maybe cuti Raya 1 hari 2 hari, lepas tu dah kembali bekerja. So anytime. So all the best. I'll see you in our online class. Thank you so much. Bye.